After almost 3 months of virtual worship, we're about ready to reopen public worship here at First Covenant. Much prayer and discussion has gone into this discussion, and our focus will be on doing this as safely as possible, realizing that the coronavirus is still a threat. So we hope you will be as cooperative as possible in abiding by the guidelines we have established so that this can be a great and safe place to worship.
So as we previously mentioned, starting July 5th, we are going to resume in-person worship services, and that will be in addition to our online version as well. That is going to be live streamed, but we wanted to take a minute to kind of highlight the key points of what to expect if you were to come and arrive for in-person worship. And one of the first things is that we will be sending out in our weekly email a digital bulletin, and we will not be printing any on site, just simply to eliminate one touch point.
Since we don't know how many will be ready to come back to in-person worship, we're asking you to use an RSVP form for at least the first week. You can do this by using the link attached to this video or on the church website, or you can call the church office. We will be limiting the number of people who worship in the sanctuary to 60 people. We're going to be giving priority seating to our older brothers and sisters or to those who have mobility issues. Others will be asked to worship down in the gym where the service will be live streamed. On the RSVP form, you can indicate if you have a preference to be in the sanctuary, in the gym, or if you really don't have a preference for one place or the other. We ask that you complete this RSVP form by noon on Friday.
It was also decided that masks are going to be required for all worshipers who are 6 years old or older. It was a decision made to help make sure that we can continue to sing, which is an important part of worship, and to protect one another well. And so masks are to be worn throughout the service in both the sanctuary and down at the gym. And only those who are going to be leading on the stage are going to be allowed to take off their masks when they are leading their part. We also know that this is a difficult thing to have younger kids wear masks. It's one of the reasons why we raised from CDC guidelines, we raised it up to ages 5 and under do not need to wear a mask. But then we also know that even 6, 7, 8-year-olds may struggle as well. And so we ask that if you have an older kid who may struggle to wear a mask, that you would worship down in the sanctuary or in the gym where it is easier to maintain social distancing practices. And we also want you to know that in case you arrive and you forgot your mask, we do have a few extra on site that we can give you to utilize. And just remember that this is simply an act of caring for others well during this time, to protect one another, and allows us to continue to worship in unique and creative ways.
Starting on July 5th, our worship both in person here at the church and online will begin 1 hour earlier at 9 a.m. When you arrive at church, we ask that you stay in your car until 8:45 a.m., and that's when the doors will be opened by a host. If you are worshiping in the sanctuary, please use the doors that are closest to the sanctuary, and if you're worshiping in the gym, we ask you to go around back and use the side entrance downstairs. Throughout the entire morning, please remember to give everybody 6 feet of social distance until they invite you to come closer. And please don't be offended at those who wish to keep their distance. This is one way we can serve one another well during this time.
And so one of the things you'll notice is when you enter, you will be greeted by a host who will prop the doors open, and then as you arrive, they will check you in. They'll ask for your name to keep attendance and track of who's coming in, as well as to make sure we don't reach max capacity in our sanctuary. And then once inside, whether up here in the sanctuary or down in the gym, once you enter into that space, you'll also receive a name tag, just because the mask obviously will cover up some faces, so to help with names and who's who. You'll also receive prepackaged communion elements since it is Communion Sunday. And so we'll talk more about that in a minute. But one of the things you'll notice up here in the sanctuary, every other pew is going to be roped off to help maintain that 6 feet of social distance. And likewise, too, if you are sharing a pew with another family, we ask that you continue to keep that 6 feet of distance unless they are kind of a part of your family unit. Also down in the gym, you'll arrive to seeing chairs already spread out around the room to kind of give that space. But if you as a family need another chair, or couples, feel free to grab a chair and kind of rearrange as needed, but please keep that social distancing as well. And also know that there is no nursery or kids programming available at this time. The nursery will be available for those who have young kids, for volunteers and staff teams to help lead the service.
When the service is concluded, the people who are worshiping in the sanctuary will be asked to exit by rows, starting in the back and then moving to the outside aisles. Offering baskets will be set up inside the sanctuary doors and on a table in the gym to encourage you to consider, and we also ask you to consider giving through our online portal called Breeze. But in any case, we ask you to move into the parking lot before attempting to greet others. And please don't hug or shake hands, and we know this is going to be really hard because we like to do that, and it's going to be especially hard if you haven't seen somebody for several months.
So as we mentioned, it is going to be Communion Sunday in our first week back, and so we have these pre-packaged communion elements. At the top you have the wafer, and then on the bottom you have the juice. And so you will receive this as you enter in by one of our council members, and we ask that you hold on to it until we get to the part in the service when we will give you instructions to go ahead and open your package and take the elements to serve yourself. And then trash cans will be available as you exit for you to drop your wrappers in on the way out.
Our drinking fountains will all be disabled. Our restrooms will be open. In each restroom, there will be disposable wipes that you can use. And when you are disposing of those wipes, please put them in the trash cans and don't flush them.
And also just know that on a Sunday morning, besides the sanctuary and the gym and the lobby areas between those two, as well as the bathrooms, aside from those spaces, the rest of the facility is to remain closed. We are going to post signs indicating that certain rooms are off limits or certain hallways are off limits. And so please follow these signs to restricted areas and do your best to eliminate as many touch points as possible. And if you need to access another part of the building on Sunday morning, we ask that you, or access another part of the facility, we ask that you make an appointment with one of our staff members at another time during the week.
This is just a short summary of the main points for reopening. There are more details available on our website, and we ask that you would look at them and familiarize yourself with them before you come.
And so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to any of our church staff, any of our church council. We'll happily answer any questions you have. Don't forget to fill out that RSVP, which is linked to this video, as well as look at more of the details, which is also linked to this video as well on our church website. And we look forward to beginning to see you again on July 5th.